people are really leery of doing anything to support the kind of work that Ed is doing.
Yeah, and I think what I read or saw was that happened just minutes before it actually kicked off at the school, so there wasn't much they can do. And then one of the other outliers, it appears this is 100% mortality rate. You know, only 6 victims, but all 6 were dead. If they were all little children, you can more understand that because they have less blood to lose. But with 3 adults also being killed, I'm kind of wondering, were they headshots or was it a whole bunch of rounds?
Yeah, I've heard rumors, but we don't have facts on that. But yeah, I think you're on the right track there.
So I would be curious of the video I saw if this girl had some training ahead of time, just the way she moved. So I would be have some curiosity about that, whether it was YouTube training or it was actual realistic. It did seem like the video I saw, the more often than not, she was using like 9mm through it looked like a Kel-Tec of some type.
Yep, it was.
So yeah, so it looked like she was using a 5.56 223. But I'd be very curious. It looked like she either had on an LBVO, I'm sorry, like a load-bearing vest or something. Right. It didn't look like it was body armor to me, the way it looked, the way it hung on her. So it looked like it was some type of thing there. But just the movement seemed like there was something there where she had picked up something from either Hollywood or in training.
Yeah, I mean, at least had slings.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a clue that there's at least some kind of preparedness that had taken place there.
Yeah, obviously it looked like to me there had been some thought into this, but probably not deep thought, because obviously she didn't get a lot of round count. And I'm kind of agreeing with Ed. As I've looked at it before, my immediate thought was she was looking for suicide by cops. She wanted a little bit of attention, but for some reason, either maybe had anger at the staff there because she used to go to school there. Based on her current lifestyle, maybe she was mad at them because probably a disagreement between the church and her lifestyle. But it just seemed like she was trying to take out aggression there, and I'm just truly surprised the body count wasn't higher.
So I'll jump into something related to Ed and his training. The school districts in Iowa that he's been working with have the same insurance carrier. And the insurance carrier, I don't know if they still are, but as of a couple months ago, were threatening to cancel the school's insurance policy if they got this armed team going. And so our local firearms group in Iowa was actually, working the legislature, trying to get some protection for the schools. And surprisingly, that's a tough road that even in a state that voted 65% for the Second Amendment, people are really leery of doing anything to support the kind of work that Ed is doing.
So what became of that, or is that still in the works right now? For the is it to give them qualified immunity? Is that?
Yeah, at least that where they can't be canceled. Their policy can't be canceled if they have a armed team, because there's a limited number of insurers for churches and schools, and the church thing, that's much easier now, but the school thing is kind of in its infancy as far as covering teams or groups of armed people in the schools. But as of right now, at least, it didn't make it through to get a full hearing by the legislature.
Yeah, I think they told me they had extended it through July, so they were covered through the rest of this school year. And I know I gave them information for an insurance company that covers schools in another state that has armed staff.
Okay, good.
I don't know if they'll be able to use that or not, but yeah, the legislature should fix that. But roadblocks and bureaucratic obstacle courses like that to do the right thing for schools is just, but on the other side, that's a bureaucratic way. If they can't win the votes for what they want in the school, they can set up bureaucratic roadblocks in the legislature so that they can't execute it. So
it would seem like there'd be some liability that in these situations where, they were offered training, they started down that path, they had the school board approve it, and then something comes in and stops it. If an event were there, you think there'd be some liability to the folks that put up the roadblock.
Yeah, I'm not an attorney and I don't know Iowa law, but my guess would be no, it's no liability against the people that make the decisions. It'll be the schools and the institutions to get sued.
Right.
So no one pays a personal price. No one loses their house. And all it is, if it's successful, then the person gets tax dollars. I mean, Parkland, they're trying to sue that place out of existence. Uvalde will probably be the same, but the superintendent that was negligent or reckless in picking the policy, they won't pay a personal price. So yeah, I don't see any way that a politician is going to pay any kind of personal price for this, unfortunately. And that's why a lot of stuff won't change.
So Ed, how do we wake these schools up, right? I don't see a lot of hope for the school districts, but to the private schools, how do we wake them up? I mean, I know John has. I have reached out to so many of them, and very few ever take up offers of training. How do we get through to them?
Well, all we can do to the school leadership is to show them the numbers, show them the unemotional, non-political, just show them the numbers. In my very limited experience, you'll get a little bit of movement, but not a lot. Because just I focus, it's all about math and time. They can claim the same thing. What are the odds? Okay, I'm going to be superintendent for another, 8 years, 5 years? What are the odds? So keep on doing what we're doing, which is not controversial and doesn't cause us any more work, or do something that might actually make our kids safer, but what are the odds we will actually need it in the next 8 years, and it'll cause me a lot more work and consternation. I think the only way to really have across the board large level of changes, we have to get to the parents, because they elect the school board. That's the only way, is we have to get to the parents. The parents care about the kids. Yeah, and school boards, that's one of the easiest elections to actually change because it's so small. That's what we have to do. And then, of course, private schools are the people who pay the money to send their kids there. So well, if you're not going to protect my kid, I know this other school over here that's doing a lot more aggressive job of that, so I'm going to move it. But I don't have I don't have a great hope that's going to happen in large numbers, but I've seen it happen in small numbers. I've seen far more private schools really take this to heart, move aggressively, whether that's with or without guns, just to move aggressively towards, we are going to stop this thing. We will have it stopped, and we will already be treating and prepping casualties before the first cop or the first ambulance gets here. A lot more private schools get aggressive and motivated on that than public schools do.
So on the drive to where I'm at today, I was hearing on the radio that several different congressmen from different states, Kentucky and others, had proposed a bill to fund for like $2 billion or whatever it was, placing an armed, either police officer or armed person or up to 2 in every school in America. Here's my problem with that. I don't see, one, that passing, and 2, it'd be a lot easier if we were able to arm and train the staff who's willing and prepared to do so. So though I kind of think that's one of the knee-jerk bills that's out there, to me, it just seems like if we could somehow, as you're saying, get to the school boards and get to the parents, we could get the willing and armed teachers, right? We could get the willing teachers to be armed and trained. That seems like that'd be by far the better solution than placing 1 or 2 armed security personnel in every school.
Yeah, but it goes towards the natural tendency to grow government. So if I can have more government employees, more police, if they're coming out of a sheriff's office or a police department, those chiefs and sheriffs like that, because that gets their numbers up, which gets their budget up and probably their pay up. When just letting the people who are already going to be there anyway protect themselves is the easiest, it has the best track record, and it's the least expensive. But government doesn't look for stuff like that. They look for opportunities to grow their budgets and grow their people. Arkansas has had the bureaucratic ability to arm staff for over 30 years, and it's never caused a problem. But it's a bureaucratic nut roll. And again, if a superintendent who's not doing it now says, I would like to do that, he's going to get negative media coverage. He's going to get negative social media coverage. He's going to get parents calling, and it's like, why put up with that when I can just keep doing what we've always done? And what are the odds? What are the odds?
So John, Ed, both of you could probably speak to this. In my experience dealing with teachers, I find they go into the teaching profession because they love kids, right? They love what they do. They're not there to make a lot of money because, like a cop, you're not going to make a lot of money. So therefore, I find that of the teachers that are there, there's probably a third or a fourth of them out there that would happily spend the time, effort, and money to become trained. And if we were able to reach those people, it seems like we could do a lot more. That's been kind of the ratio loosely that I see. About a fourth of them out there go, hey, I love these kids. I love my job. I want to protect them. I'm there anyways, as Ed just suggested. So therefore, if you'll give me the training, I'll take it. John, are you seeing the same type of thing?
Yeah, I offered, much like you, offered free training in Iowa after Parkland, and there was 156 people that took the training. The problem was, after they had, a significant amount of training, about 40 hours on the range, that even when they went back to their schools, except for Christian schools, the public schools still were like, well, it was nice you did that, but don't be bringing that in here, even though the law allows it in Iowa if, they had permission from administration.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. And so I always bring up the fact, when I was a tank company commander, I was a captain, but I had 2 privates on my tank. If my tank took a hit, whether it be by air, direct fire, mine, whatever, if my tank got hit, I paid the same price as my privates on our tank. We all paid the price for it. The problem is the people making the big rules that throw up roadblocks are the state legislature and the superintendents. And these shootings aren't taking place in the superintendent's office, in the school board meetings, or in the state legislature. Mm-hmm. So they're making rules that are causing teachers, principals, and students down where the shootings are taking place to cause them to be compulsory victims. If the shootings were taking place in the legislature, in the school board meetings, and in the superintendent's office, you could bet they would be a lot more aggressive about having not the solution, not 15 minutes away, but right there.
Well, Adam, I know that we have a similar heart toward staying in the fight on this, to keep pushing and keep trying to get something to happen to get these teachers trained. What would you say to others that are watching out there? Maybe there's a school district, or there's some school staff that are watching now. What's the logical next step? Fall and come to training, or try to build a grassroots network of people that'll do it and try to work that up the food chain?
So I think probably the grassroots side is going to have to be what it is, right? Ed talked about getting on the school board. It talked about getting to the parents. I know for the state I spent most of my time in Colorado, as long as the head of the school district that themselves would allow for armed people, then at that point in time when I left Colorado, there was only one school district that would, right? Nobody would touch it. So if maybe the teachers can try to approach the school districts in other states, if that works that way in other states, maybe that would be one way to pressure it. Maybe.
Yeah, just as we're talking, a thought just came into my mind that we should be doing a podcast like this in various states, and invite school board members to be on and listen and ask questions, because I think that is where the battle's got to be fought, and then try to work it up from there.
Well, and when I get brought in to talk to a school, I always try to encourage them to also have a presentation at night, because the superintendents, the school boards, the principals, that they can get off and come during the day on a school day, but the teachers can't, and the parents, most parents can't. So let's do another one at night, so those teachers who had to teach during the day but are interested in this, and the parents who work during the day, they can come see this too. And a lot of times when I give it to the whole school, like I'll go to some schools on those few days each semester where the students don't come, but the teachers have to be there for in-service training, which is almost never valuable. As I'm going through the slides and showing the numbers and showing the attacks, and a lot of the time, with the superintendents and the bigwigs are in the back, a lot of the staff are turning around and looking at them as during the presentation, like, he's right. We are sitting ducks if they come here. And so I know several schools, they will pay some other organization to come in and do their yearly active shooter training, and they won't let me come back and do it for free because they don't want their staff told that they're sitting ducks. They want a company that'll come in and say, lock your doors, turn out your lights, the cops will come stop it, and everybody will be okay.
Yep. Well, kind of gone almost an hour here. Probably should wrap up, but Adam, appreciate what you do. Ed, appreciate what you do. And, Lord willing, we'll stay in the fight and start making some inroads. If there's people out there that are listening to this, or they've watched it later, that, please reach out and contact us. Ed, tell folks how to get a hold of you.
Sure, you can call me on my cell phone directly, 870-273-1113. Call or text. You can email me at my name, edmonk, EDMONK, at AOL.com. And you can find Last Resort Firearms Training on Facebook.
Okay, Adam?
So you can catch me at my cell, 970-986-0774. You can get a hold of me at adam@defenders-usa.com. That's my email. Or again, just defenders-usa.com is my website. Before we end,
Yes.
I'd like to make sure that to the cops out there that might be listening to this, to the staff that might be listening to this, you must go to the sound of the guns. You must wait your turn, take your turn, aggressively go towards this. And literally, cops, if it's you, hurdle the bodies, be the first one to get there. Be the first one, right? Fight your way to get there, because that's the only way you're going to save life.
And as we talked the
Adam,
other day, you told me the Gene Hackman movie, which I dug out and remembered. You know, it was in the 80s, and supposedly there was an NFL strike or whatever, and so the replacement guys came in. And go ahead and share the line that you shared with me.
So I think it was off his movie called Hoosiers, right?
Oh, okay.
I think it was. And it was a basketball movie about how, and Gene Hackman tells the kid in there, a winner always wants the ball. Winners always want the ball. It's the same thing for the cop, right? If it's your time, if you're the cop, you have decided you are the warrior. You're the one who's going to go to the sound of the guns. You cannot wait for anybody else. And in fact, every other cop should be trying to fight to beat you there, and you fighting to beat them there. You need to be the first one to put rounds on target. And that must be something you must be selfishly going after to take it for yourself, because you might be the first one there. Do not wait on others. You go, and go by yourself if you have to, but you must go.
Right. And that's what we saw with at least one of the officers on the video from Nashville. That was demonstrated pretty clearly, and a good lesson for everybody else.
Yeah, go swarm in there like a rabid wasp. Just keep on going. And it's not to be not macho. It's not to win an award. It's because every few seconds in most active shooter attacks, maybe not this last one, every few seconds someone's getting shot that we don't get to them and stop them. So swarm in there aggressively and find them. Stop the clock.
All right, very good. And for folks to get a hold of me, it's J. McLaughlin at iowafc.org, or just go to the Iowa Firearms Coalition Facebook page, our website at iowafc.org, and you can send a note, and we will figure out how to help you, to assist you to get training. Come to a seminar at your school, get you hooked up with Ed or Adam, and do whatever we can to keep you moving in the right direction. Guys, thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and stay sharp, and we'll see you down the road real soon.
Take care.
Thanks, John.